till now, we had learned fundamental data, string operators, arithmetic, comparison, logical operators, list, dictionary, tuple and sets, loops, conditionals, functions in Python, classes and objects. Today's our guest, Professor Srimati Sweta Ramesh. She has passed MSc in Engineering Mathematics from Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai, with CGPA 9.31. She has also completed BTech in Electronics and Communication Technology from SRM University, Tamil Nadu, with CGPA 9.28. She is now working as a data science teacher in SCC Limited, Mumbai. And she is also working as a visiting faculty in Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai. She has completed project Lists Were Problem with Julia. She has completed internship in summer intern IEOR IIT Bombay. Madam has also completed certificate course Julia Scientific Programming Language and Google Data Analysis Professional Certificates. She is well known with languages Python, R, Julia, Sage Math, and MATLAB. Now, I welcome to Sweta for delivering her lecture. Over to Sweta, madam.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for this introduction. First of all, wish you all a very happy Independence Day. Am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So it's really great to see so many participants in this session of Python. So without further ado, let us start. I shall be sharing my screen now. All of you with a feedback form. It's just a few questions on how you felt the session was. I'll be sharing it on the chat box. So can you all see the screen? When if you can just unmute and tell me if you can share the screen. I don't think I'll be able to view the messages right now. So
yes, ma'am.
okay, great. So till now, like sir said, that you have all seen different things that we can do with Python. You've seen how you can store data using lists, tuples, sets, even strings, right? Now, why do we require files? So the first session that we will have today is about file handling. So before we start file handling, we need to know why we need to have files, right? So for example, you have two Python programs. You're writing one program, you have developed some codes and you have some outputs as some L is equal to some list, okay? And suppose in the second program, you need to use the output L. Now what happens is that whatever variables you have in the first program, that is native to that program itself. So you cannot use that output in the second program. So when this happens, you have to have some way so that you can use the output of the first program into the second program, right? Which is why you have the concepts of files. Now you would have come across various files in your lives. For example, the Word files, the PDFs, just the normal text files, Excel files, CSV files, and so on. So basically, you have two types of files. One is the binary file and the other is the text file. Binary files are nothing but just non-text files. And what do I mean by text files? Text files are whatever files that you can open with a normal text editor. So if you if you have a Windows operating system and just say Notepad, right? So this is your normal text editor for your Windows operating system. And whatever files you can open with a notepad, those are all text files. They contain text that humans can read and understand. Whereas binary files are files which are encoded in some binary format. Binary format meaning a series of zeros and ones, you could say. So those files are something that the computer can read and understand. But if you look at those files in a normal notepad, you wouldn't be able to understand those files. And you require specific programs to interpret these files and then display it to the user. Some of those files, for example, if you think of PDF, you require some different programs to open PDF files, right? Similarly, images you cannot open images using a notepad. Similarly, videos. So all these videos, audios, images, documents with like PDFs, etc. These are all binary files. Similarly, text files are files, like I said, that you can just open on the normal notepad and you can understand what those files are. So for example, .txt file, whatever you're just writing on the notepad and you're saving that file. So those are normal .txt files, or even CSV files for that matter. If you can actually open CSV files using notepad and you can understand what is there in that. It will just be text files. Similarly, files like with source code files, as in whatever programming languages that you have, like Python or C or Java or Julia or MATLAB. So all these programming files that you're writing, right, and you're saving those files with .c extension for C program, .py extension for Python program, .java extension for Java program, .jl extension for Julia. So all these files, if you open it on a notepad, you will be able to see what they are and you can understand what those files are. So those are text files. Now, the great thing about Python is that Python can understand both binary files as well as text files. And it is such a great thing because, like I said, if I want to use the output of one file in another Python file, I can use the file handling for that. I can open that file from wherever it is stored, and then I can use it for whatever purpose I require, right? Now, what do I mean by, so first of all, let's just talk about file handling step by step. What do I mean by file handling and how do you do that in Python? Now, suppose you want to read a book. Okay, so if the book is right in front of you, you just open the book, you read it, and then you close it, right? But suppose that book is in the library. So you have to first go to the library, get the book, open it, and read it, right? So something similar happens in Python. So suppose, yeah, so I'll just let you know about the different methods of accessing a file. So accessing a file is just basically like going to the book, getting it, and then reading it, okay? So how do you access your files? Now, for example, I have in the D drive of my computer, I have a folder called KTHM Talk, in which I have a subfolder called file handling. In that, I have a text file called sample, right? So I want to open that file. So I'll first, open the file explorer, then go to the D drive, and then go to KTHM Talk, and then file handling, and then I'll open the sample text, right? So this is the sample text that I have currently. Now, if I want to open this via Python, what do? I have to write the entire file location and then write the file name and then open it. Okay. So if I want to get the file location, how do I do that? So what you can do is you can just right click on this file and then you have properties. With the properties, you'll get the file location over here. So it says D drive, KTHM Talk, file handling, and then the file name that is sample.txt, right? So that is one way. So yeah, there is a command in Python named open. So I can just write open, and in quotes I can write the file location, and then I'll just tell Python what I want to do. Do I want to read or write or what? Right? Now that is the first method. I'll write the entire file location and then the file name, and then whatever I want to do, I'll write it, right? But there's another method. What if I just directly go to the place where my file is saved? I go and I save a Python, whatever Python file I'm writing, whatever Python commands I'm writing, I save it wherever that file is. So, meaning I open Python from the place where the file is. So, so there is this package called OS, OS meaning operating system. So, I import OS. Right? So from OS, I'll get the current working directory. And what do I mean by current working directory? What do I mean by package? What do I mean by OS, right? So current working directory is basically the place where you're saving your current Python file. By default, if you're using Windows operating system, then by default the current working directory would be in the C drive, because whenever you're installing Python in your computer or laptop, it usually gets installed in the C drive. Now, if I want to see what the current working directory is, so I can just write import OS. OS, like I said, is a package that tells us where my current working directory is, and if I want to change the working directory, then I can change it there also. So I'll say OS dot, so OS is the package, and if I want to access some function from the package, we'll see about packages more later in the second session, but for this session we'll just be using this particular package, right? So OS is the package, and then if I want to access any function that is there in the OS package, I just say OS dot, and then I press tab. So you can see all these functions that are there in the OS. And if at any point you feel that I'm going too slow or too fast, then you can just unmute yourself and tell it out. Okay, so I won't be able to view the messages that you're sending. So you can just tell. So there is this function called get CWD, which basically means you want to get the current working directory. So if I say os.getCWD, and if you've already dealt with user-defined functions, then you would know that, or any function for that matter in Python, then you would know that after writing the function name, you're supposed to give the parenthesis, right? So that's what I do. So this is the current working directory that I have. How do I actually change the current working directory? I said that usually the working directory in Python is in C drive, right? So actually using Anaconda, so I am using the Anaconda distribution, and through that I am accessing Jupyter Notebook. So if you have the Anaconda, if you have Anaconda installed, then you'll have something called Anaconda prompt. So you go to Anaconda prompt. So from here, you get to see the base directory, right? So this is actually usually the current working directory that is in the C drive. I have a folder called users, and inside the folder called users, I have another folder called Shweta. And inside Shweta is where my Python file would be if I just open Jupyter Notebook here. But if I want to change the directory, if I want to open my Jupyter Notebook from somewhere else, then what do I do? So for example, I want to open it from the D drive where I've stored the sample.txt, right? So I go to D drive. How do I do that? I write D. Is the screen visible to all? Can you make out what I'm writing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you write D, and then you write colon, enter. So this will take you to the D drive. Now you change the directory to, so like I said, in the D drive, I have a file named, I have a folder named KTHM talk. So I say CD, that is change drive. Then I write KT, and I don't even have to write the entire KTHM talk. I can just say KT and then press tab. So this will automatically display the folder that's there in that D drive. So I go to KTHM talk, and inside KTHM talk, again, I have another folder called file handling, right? So I again write CD, that is change drive, and then file handling. So again, I don't need to write the entire file handling. I can just write FIL and then press tab. So this will give me file handling, and then I press enter. So now it's changed the directory to D drive, KTHM folder, file handling. Now, once I come here, I can open my Jupyter notebook as I'll just write Jupyter and then hyphen notebook and then press enter. Now, since I already have a live session going on over here, I'm not going to press enter, but this is how you will change the drive if you want to, and then you can go to that place, right? So like I said, if you want to read a book, if that book is right in front of you, then you can just directly open the book and read it. But if you want to read a book that is there in the library, then you'll first have to go to the library, then take the book out. That is inside the library, you'll have to go to the place where, for example, if it's something called, if it's something related to differential equation. So you will have different sections in the library, right? So you will first go to the mathematical section, and then inside the math section, you'll have something called called differential equation section. And inside that section, you'll have those books, right? So you'll have to first go to the library, then to the math session. And inside the math session, you'll again have a differential equation section. And inside the differential equation section, you can find your book. Similarly, here what I've done, I've gone to my D drive, and inside the D drive, I have a folder called file handling, KTHM talk. So I first went to D drive, and inside the D drive, I went to the KTHM talk. And inside the KTHM talk, I went to file handling, and inside that file handling, I have this sample.txt, right? So since I'm already there, since my current working directory is D drive KTHM talk file handling, so I just directly need to write the name of the file, and then I can access it. But like I said, if I'm not there in the D drive, then I can write the entire path followed by the file name. So what do I mean by the path followed by the file name? So basically, once you go to the library and get the book, you're supposed to open the book to read it, right? So you have an open function in Python. So let us first take help on open function. Let's see what that open function is all about. So there are again two different ways to take help, right? So one way is to write help, and then inside the parenthesis, you can write open. Or what you can do is just write a question mark and then write open. Both of them do the same thing. So I'll just so I've gone here, I've typed help and then open. And I was told that many of you would not be able to be doing this coding by live. So those who can, you can do it. I'll be going slow, so you can do it along the way. And if you have any doubts, you can ask. And those of you who cannot do it right now, that's completely fine. You can do it later on also. So yeah, one second. So I first, yes.
Ma'am, please show the screen of Access once.
This one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay, ma'am. Fine.
Yes. So if you take help on open, what does it tell you? So it's a built-in function. You're not using it from any package. So it's a built-in function in Python. So what does open do, and what all are the arguments that you need to write in the open function? So the first one is file, then you have something called modes, and then buffering, encoding, errors, new lines, close, opener, etc. You don't have to worry about buffering, encoding, errors, etc. We'll just uh, focus on file and the mode. Okay. So again, if you just go down a bit, then it will tell you what these files are. So file is either a text or a byte string giving the name and the path if the file is in the current working directory. Like I said, if you're going to the library and then taking it, then you will have to give the entire path of wherever that book is. Just a second. Yeah. So if you're going to the library and then taking the book, then you'll have to give the entire path of where the file is, and then you'll have to write the file name. Or if it's already in the current working directory, then you can just write the file name. Okay, so that's the file. And mode. Mode is basically so when you have a book, you can either read the book or write in the book, right? So those are the two different things that you can do. Now in Python, you have you again, in Python as well, you can do different things with a file. So the first thing that you can do is read. So the mode for that would be R. So open for reading, and this is the default mode. So even if you just give open and then the file name, by default it will open the file in the read mode. Okay. Then you have the write mode. So you have to be cautious about this, because in the read mode you can only read the book, you cannot write the book. So for example, in the library books, you can't write anything in the library books, right? They are just readables. So you can just think of it like that. So if you are actually going to the library and getting the book, you're actually getting the book in the read mode. The second is the write mode. So write mode, for example, if you go to the stationery shop and you buy a one line notebook or something, so that notebook you will be buying it for writing, right? So that notebook would be in the write mode. So in the write mode, in Python, in the write mode you cannot read, you can only write. Okay. And then X is basically to create. So if you do not already have a file, then if you use the X mode, you can create that file and then open it for writing. Okay. Then A is basically for appending. So what is the difference between appending and writing, you could ask? So what happens is in the write mode is that when you open a file in the write mode, whatever, and you start writing in it, so whatever you have existing in that file, in so if you've written some 10 lines in that file already, and you're opening that file in the write mode and you start writing, so whatever 10 lines you had actually written in the beginning, all those get overwritten, and whatever you are writing right now, that is what gets written on the file. So if you open the file again later on, you will see that whatever you had written previously was not there. Whatever you wrote using the write command is what is there in that file right now. And in the append mode is again for writing, you can't read there. The difference between append and writing is that whatever you're writing in the append mode gets appended to the end of the file. So for example, if, like I said, if you've written some 10 lines in the file and you're opening the file in the append mode, then what happens is that you whatever you're writing in the append mode will get added to that file. Whatever you had written previously, that does not get deleted. We'll look at all these things more, but I'm just telling you a brief I'm just giving you a brief summary of what these modes are. So those are the first four modes, and then B and T. So like I said, you have two different types of files, right? Binary files and text files. So what happens in the binary files? Binary files are those files that are encoded with zeros and ones, whereas text files are, and you cannot understand what those are if you just open it in the notepad. But text files are those files that have texts in them, and you can understand what you've written in the text file. So you have to, you can mention what type of file you're opening. Is it a binary file that you're trying to open, and or is it a text file that you're trying to open? Like I said, Python can handle both types of files. But the only thing is that if you're opening binary types of files in the in Python and you're trying to print it, again it will be like printing opening binary files in the notepad. So you might probably not understand what it is, but Python understands it, right? So if you want to do something, then you can do it with the binary files as well. Today for this session, we'll be basically looking at text files only. So text files, again, that's the default option. So like I said, reading is the default option. Similarly, text files are the default option. So you have these two as default, right? Read, that is open for reading, that is default, and text that is also default. So when you're writing the file, like after writing open, and then in the parenthesis you're writing the file name, and then you just write R, that is the read mode. It'll understand that this is a text file, it's not a binary file. So you do not have to write RT or WT or whatever, because T, like I said, is a default option, right? So that is, and these two are the only things that we'll be concerned about with the open function. That is, one is the file name, and the second is the mode in which we are opening, right? So following till here. And yeah, I'll be asking questions in between, so please you can unmute yourselves and answer. I'll try to make this session as interactive as possible. So clear till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, great.
It's okay.
Okay. So another mode that I forgot to mention is the plus mode. So plus mode is basically if you write R and plus, what you can do is you can both read as well as write. So it basically combines two things. So whatever properties the read mode has, that plus whatever properties the write mode has. So you can combine both of them with the plus sign. So either read plus append or read plus write. I see someone has raised their hands. Yes. Any doubts? Okay, if no doubts, then I'll continue. So first, so basically there are 4 or 5 different things that you can do. Like I said, you can open, you can read, you can write, you can rename, you can delete, and some other operations that will be seen. So first we look at the read operation, right? So I'll open the sample.txt that I showed you guys. And like every other function that you're that you use in Python, so like for example, if you're using a list, you basically use a variable to store it, right? So similarly you'll have to use one for here for this also. So you write file is equal to open, and then here again, now my sample.txt is in the same directory, same folder that my current Python file is in, right? So I don't have to write the entire path, I can just write the name of the file. So I'm just writing inside quotes, I write sample.txt. And now, like I said, read mode is the default mode, and text file mode is the default mode. So it's okay. So right now, since we're just going to do the read, we are going to see what all we can do with the read function. I can just open it like this, or I can specify that I want to open it in the read mode, right? So I'm just specifying it. I'm just specifying it as R. I'm not going to say that it's a text file, because like I said, text is default. The text file is a default option. So I do this and I execute it. Now let's see what all you can do. So file dot and then tab. So if you did not know this before, then file dot and then pressing tab will give you what all methods are there that we can apply to this variable or to this object, right? So these are the different things that we can do: buffer, close, detach, encoding, errors, etc. But since we are using the file for reading, we'll be looking at read, read line, and read lines. So we'll look at what are the difference between read, read line, and read lines. So first we'll read the file. So again, for reading the file, you have to store it. You can do two different things. You can just say print and then file dot read. So this will basically print whatever. So read, basically what it does is it just reads everything that is there in the file that you are opening. Okay. It reads it line by line, but it displays everything. It reads everything that's there in the file. So basically, the read command is like you're reading everything that is there in a book. Okay. As simple as that. So if you want to print whatever you've read, so you're just going to write print and then file dot read, and this will give you whatever is there in that file. So what all are there? Hello world, welcome to KTHM College. This talk deals with file handling, and thank you, right? Now, let me ask you one question. When you're reading a book, right? Suppose you've read the entire book, and then I say, read again. Like if I ask uh, if I ask Python to read again, what would it do? Any ideas? So if I just write, if I execute this again, what would you possibly get? Any ideas?
The same content. Hello world.
Let's see. So when you execute this again, what you're actually getting is something empty, like you're not getting anything. And why is that? Because basically you've already reached the end of the book, right? There's nothing else left to read, right? So once you've executed read for the first time, if you execute it again, what happens is Python does not have anything else to, like, when the cursor is already at the end of the file, there's nothing else to read. So it gives you an empty, output. It does not give you any output at all. So it's just similar to just opening a book and reading it till the end, and then finding nothing else to read after that, right? So that is what happens when you read. And in fact, with everything, read line, and read lines, what happens is that Python starts reading it, and we look at read lines now. But what happens is it comes to a particular part, like it reads till a particular part, and then once you ask it to read again, it will read from whatever is left after, that part. So for example, if you have read till a particular line, and then I ask you to read further, so you'll, till till suppose in a page in a book that you're reading, and in a particular page you've read till line number 5, right? And if I ask you to read further, you'll start reading after the line number 5, no? So similarly, Python does the same thing. So it will read till whatever we ask it to read, till we'll ask it to read, and then if we ask it to read again, it will start from wherever it had stopped. So since I had already read whatever was there in the file, so if I just execute this again, it won't find anything else to read, so which is why I'm getting an empty output. So if I want to read again, so I'll have to first open the book again and then read it. Okay. So that is what happens. Now that is the read. So read command. So read command reads everything that is there in the file. Now, if I, so we'll now go to the next function, that is the read line. So what, I'll just open the file again as file1, for example. I can open it as file also. So I'll open it, or I'll just copy this thing, Control A, Control C. Let's look at what read line does. And again, if you don't want to write the entire read line command, then you can just say read and then press tab. So it will give you a suggestion. So Jupyter Notebook is great like that because it gives you suggestions of what all functions are there that start from the letters read. So you have these four different functions. So the next function that I want is the read line. So I can just press the down arrow. The third one is the read line. So I go to read line and then press enter. So you don't have to write the entire function name. How this helps you is, if for example your first of all, it saves time. The second one is, if you don't remember the entire function name, you're confused whether if it has if it has an underscore in between two words or something, or if it's just one entire word. So what you can do is, just you can write the first few characters, first few letters of that function, and then you can press tab and you'll get whatever function. For example, in this get cwd, if I didn't know whether it was get underscore cwd or if it was get cwd together, so I can just write os.get and then press tab, and I would have got this function and I could just have pressed enter. So Jupyter Notebook is great like that, and it's pretty interactive, and you can look at whatever functions you're writing and whatever outputs you're getting like this. So like I said, the next function is the readline function. So let's see what readline does. So basically, readline reads each line one by one, and here, if you can see here, first when I just wrote file.read, I was getting hello world and then an exclamatory mark. Here I have something extra, that is backslash and n. So what does this backslash and n mean? So in many of the programming languages, including Python, backslash dot n basically means you're going to the next line. So in Python, what does next? So first of all, what does next line mean? So here, Python just it does not, basically all these programming languages, they do not understand English or any language or any human language the way we interpret it. Okay, so if we say that so hello world, and then I write the next sentence called, say, good morning or something. So Python is not going to understand that hello world is one sentence and good morning is the other sentence. It does not understand that exclamatory mark is something that stops a sentence, or period or full stop is something that stops the sentence, or a question mark is something that stops the sentence. It just recognizes all these as special characters. It just considers hello world, exclamatory mark, good morning, dot, everything as just one line. And when I press enter and go to the next line that you can see here, that is what it considers as the next line or new line. So for Python, new line is whenever it encounters this enter, and when I press enter, Python interprets it as backslash and n. So that is basically what a new line or next line means in Python. I'll just keep this open. Yeah. So this is the thing that I get when I read when I use read line for the first time. So it reads the first line. Now, if I execute this again, can anyone tell me what I would get?
Welcome to KTHM College.
Great. So why is this that I get when I execute this again? Because the cursor, when I read the first line, I've already moved the cursor to the end of hello world and to the beginning of welcome to the welcome to KTHM College, right? So it's exactly like how you read a book. You first completed one line, and when I ask you to read further, you'll go to the next line. You'll not start reading the first line again. So you go to the second line, that is welcome to KTHM College. And then if I execute this again, it will give me the third line. So read line is basically trying to read each line one by one. It does not read everything together, right? So whenever it will start reading from the beginning, and when it reaches this whenever we have pressed enter and gone to the second line or third line or fourth line or whatever, so till the time it reaches something called backslash n, or till the time it sees that we've ended this line over here, it will keep reading, right? So that is what read line does. And let's now see what read lines does. So these are two different functions, mind you. Read line is one thing. Read lines is another thing. They're not the same one. So I again open this file because I have to go back to the starting point, because now if I like it's already read till this talk deals with file handling and thank you. So if I press any other, if I go to any other function right now, either read or read line or read lines, what it does is, so for example, if I execute this again, I've actually executed this file open, so it reads the first line. Yeah, just a second. I was here, right? So if I execute this again, I'll get an empty string because it does not find anything else to read. So I'll have to open this again, and then I say file dot read lines. So I can just press tab. So I have two different functions. You can see read line and read lines. So I go to read lines, press enter, empty parenthesis. You do not have to write any arguments in this, which is why I'm using an empty parenthesis over here. So file dot read lines. So what this does, it reads each line and it gives back a list of each line. So hello world is the first line that I had in the sample.txt. So that is my first entry of the list. The second entry of the list is welcome to KTHM College. The third line of the list, I mean, the third element of the list is this talk deals with file handling. Thank you. So it reads each line one by one, and then it gives me back a list of all the lines that I have in string format. Okay. So that is what read lines does. And like I said, once it's read all these lines, if I execute this again, I'll get an empty list, because it does not have anything else to read. It has already come to the end of the file. So basically, these are the things that these are the three main functions that you can use with the read in the read mode. Okay. So now what we have seen is that once I've read everything, then I'll have to, for like, what I had been doing till now is, once I've done reading the entire file, I'm executing this particular command again and going to the first opening the book again and reading it, right? So wouldn't it be nice if I had a function which lets me ask the cursor to go to the beginning? You wouldn't have to open the book again. You can just go back to the beginning of the book. So basically what we've been doing till now is, we've been reading the entire book. Then if I ask you to read the book again, you're closing the book, you're opening the book again, and then you're starting to read. We've actually not used the close command. We'll use the close command in a little while. But what you've basically be doing is, you've opened the book, you've read the book till the end, and I'm asking you to open the book again. So imagine that you're closing the book after this, and then you're opening the book again to read it. What if, instead of closing the book and then opening it again, if you could just turn the pages and go to the first page and then start reading it? Wouldn't that be nice? So you actually have a function that does that. So let's see what that is. So let me I already have this as open, right? I haven't closed the book as yet, so my book is still open. Okay, so I just want to go to the beginning of the book. and I want to see where I am in the book, like what is the page number that I am in right now. But instead of telling you the page number, what Python does is it tells you the number of characters that you have read till now. So what do I mean by character? So here, uh, in this particular line, hello world and good morning, how Python calculates the character is, so for Python everything starts with 0, it does not start with 1. So for Python, if you want to calculate the number of characters that you have read till now, so it will be hello would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it considers the space also as one character. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Exclamation is also another character. So 11, 12, then 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And this is how, and it, of course, it considers full stop also as a character. And if after the full stop, I have another space, then it will calculate that also as a character. So basically, that's how it counts the characters. So with that, you can know where your cursor is at. So for example, if I'm using the read line function, not the read lines function, the read line function where you're reading line by line, so just one line at a time, right? So if you want to see where the cursor is, how many characters you've read till now, you can do that as well. So let's look at how you can do that, right? So let's see. I write file, and here also, if instead of writing file fully, or if I have a variable name that's really huge, I don't have to write the entire variable name. So you can just write the first few variable names, and that is if you've already executed that line once and you want to use that variable again, right? So if you don't have to write the entire variable name again, you can just write the first few characters and then press tab. So you will get suggestions of what all variables you have in that name, sounding similar to that. So I can just write fi, and then if I just press tab, so I get these suggestions, right? So I this is what I want, so I press enter. I already have this file, right? So now I again press dot tab. So you have something called tell. Okay, so what tell does is basically it tells you where your cursor is at. So if I write this, it tells me that it is at the 88th position. So starting from 0, it is at the 88th position, meaning it has read 0 plus you're adding 0 also. So basically it's read 89 characters till now. Okay, so that is the position it is at. Now that is the that is the tell function. Now the second function that I was telling you about, the function that lets you go to the beginning of the file. So I want to ask you to go to the beginning of the book that you're reading without closing the book, right? So there is another function called the seek function. So what does the seek function do? Let's first, and
Hello,
it's
ma'am.
yes.
Ma'am, will you please repeat what is 88 here?
Yeah, so I'll just open the file that it's actually reading right now. It's reading the sample.txt, right? So what did I tell you? The characters, so it starts reading the characters from 0. Okay, so hello world is basically the number of characters that are there in hello world would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Space would be the fifth character, and then followed by world and exclamatory mark and stuff, right? So what it does is it starts reading from 0. So from hello world, that's 0th character. So it starts reading the characters, and like I said, when you press enter, what Python interprets it as is \n, right? So that becomes 2 more characters. So it starts reading characters from 0, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then after the world and exclamation, you can actually think that there is something called slash and n over here. So this becomes 2 more characters. Here also you'll have 2 more characters. So it starts reading the characters from 0, and the tell function, what it does is it tells you how many characters it has read till now. Okay, so if you're using the read line function and you have read the first line, right, and you use the tell function, so I'll tell you with an example. So just a second. I'll first tell you about the seek function and then I'll tell you the example, because I want to go to the starting of the file. I'm already at the end of the file. I want to go to the start of the beginning of the file. So I'll come back to the tell function in a bit. I'll first tell you about the seek function. Okay. And hopefully you
Yeah,
will,
ma'am.
yeah. So when you're using a function for the first time, it's always a good practice to take help on the function, so you'll get to know what exactly is the function all about and what are the different arguments that you're supposed to give in that function and stuff. So you can just write so again, like taking a help on the function, you can either write question mark followed by the function name, or you can just write help and then followed by the function name. So I say question mark file dot seek. So seek is the function, like I said, it helps you go to the beginning of the file without having to close it. So it gives, so if I use question mark and do it, so it tells you file dot seek. And here I don't have to write anything in the parentheses actually. So what does it tell you? Sorry, I have to write 0, 1 or 2 in the parentheses. I'm extremely sorry. So what does 0 mean? Start of the string. Okay, so if I say file dot seek and then I press Z and in the parenthesis I pass 0 as the argument, then what does it do? It takes the cursor to the beginning of the file. Okay, and then first if I write file dot seek and then 1, it actually takes the cursor to the it actually takes you to the current position, if it makes sense. And then second, if I write 2, then it goes to the end of the file, right? So I want to go to the beginning of the file, so I say file dot seek and then I write 0. So once I've done this, it tells you uh, I've gone back to the 0th position, right? So if I had written file dot 1, now I've already gone to the 0th position. So if I write file dot seek and then 1, it'll just give me 0 because 0 is the current position. But here, after I've read the entire thing and then I write file dot seek and then 1, then it'll tell you where exactly the cursor is. So file dot seek 0. So I'm at the beginning of the file right now. So I've, instead of reading the book fully and then closing it and then opening it again, I've just read the book fully, then gone back to the first page, first line. Okay, that is how you can interpret this as. So file.seek lets you do that. Now to understand what file.tell, how does it work? So now I've gone to the beginning of the file. Let me read the first line. Okay, so I'll say file dot read line. So this has read the first line. Now can anyone tell me how many characters are there in the first line?
Is there 11?
Yeah, so it will be with let's see. So if I say file dot tell
14.
14, why is it 14? Because it says 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And if you're actually reading from the first line, so if I say H as the first thing, you'll actually have 14 characters, right? Understand?
But we have started from 0, no?
Yeah, so it has read till 0. It has read till the \n, and and currently it is at the beginning of the second line. So that would be the 14th character. So if you're starting with 0, we have counted here when we started with 0 and we counted till \n, we got 13 characters, right? And
Yes.
in the read line, what it does is it reads till the \n and then it goes to the second line and waits there. So basically, it's right now at the 14th character. Understand?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am. It counts space also.
Yeah.
So with space, it will become 14, ma'am.
How come? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
So it
Fine, fine.
starts with 0 and then it counts everything till \n, that so it goes till the end of the line and it goes to the beginning of the second line. It waits there. So when you say read line again, it starts from the beginning of the second line,
Hello,
right?
ma'am.
Yes.
It's count slash and n are separately.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everything over there, everything over here that you get, it counts it as one character. Does it make sense? So this makes sense? Yes, shall I move forward then?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is how you can go back to the beginning of the file without having to close the file. So you can go to the beginning of the book without closing the book and starting to read again, right? So seek and tell are two functions that you can use to see where you are currently and go back to the first position, or go to the end of the book, right? So that is seek and that is tell. Now, like I said, once you've opened the book, you have to close it. Okay, so in Python, what happens is that if you do not close the file after you've done, so especially when you're opening the file in the write mode, and you do not close, you forget to close the file, and then by mistake you're saying file dot write again, and then you write some lines, and you actually didn't want to add that line to the file that you've currently opened. So what that does is it writes some line in the file that's currently open. So basically, till the file is open in your in Python, it is prone to changes. So if you do not want that to happen, once you're done reading or writing or whatever function that you wanted to do with the file, if you're done with that, it's uh, it's really important that you close the file after you read it. Or if once you've done with the file, then it's really important that you close it, because right now whatever we are doing is just simple things. We are looking at how hello world looks, or how we read lines from a simple file and stuff. But when you're working in an organization and you have really important files and you forget to use the close function, it could be very detrimental to the file, because you would be making changes that you did not want to make in that particular file, right? So it's really important that once you open a file, you have to close it. So for that, you have a close function. So I am done with this sample.text, for example. I am done reading everything in this sample.text and I want to close the file. So you can just write file dot, and then if I press tab, you can see that the second function itself is the close function. So you write close, and so this closes the file. Now, if I want to access the file again, if I say file, so it will just tell this that, okay, or if I say read, right? I'm sorry. I've closed the file and I want to read this. So it will throw me an error. It actually says that you're trying an operation on a closed file and it does not allow that. So that is what we want, right? We want to close it and we want the file to be secure. So what happens is, once you close the file, after closing the file, if you try to do any function, so read or write or whatever, once you close the file, if you try to do something, then it throws you an error. So that is closing a file. Now let's open the file again, because we are not done with all the functions in the read mode for now. So I'm opening this file, right? So right now I've opened the file in the read mode, and when I write file dot and then tab, you can actually see something like write and write lines over here. So what if, even though I have, opened this file in the read mode, what if I try to write in that file? What happens? So I say file dot write, and then just empty parenthesis. I'm not writing anything right now. Uh, or just say hi. Okay. So this again throws me an error. It says that it's an unsupported operations, and it's really important that whenever you get an error when you're working with Python or any programming language for that matter, whenever you get an error, it's really important that you see what kind of an error it is, because right now, since you're just starting with Python, you will be facing a lot of uh, difficulties in the beginning, because this would be an entirely new concept for you. So once you're just starting this Python or any programming language for that matter, you will end up getting some or the other errors. And even most of the experienced developers also, they also keep getting some or the other error, right? So it's really important that you take note of what kind of errors that you're getting. So that will basically tell you, it will give you a hint of what you could have probably gone wrong with. So for example, here in the first place, where we when we tried to read a file after we closed it, we got a value error, and it also gave you a description of what that error was. It said input output operation on closed file, right? Here, when we are when we are trying to write something in a file that we have just used in the read mode, it gives you an unsupported operation error. Basically what happens is, when you're when these Python developers develop these functions for the first time, it's actually possible to define what kind of errors you want the function to throw. If it encounters something that the function is not supposed to do, if it encounters such a situation, what kind of error it has to throw, you can actually define that. So these developers, when they develop these functions, they define all these types of errors, and they also tell what is the output that they should give, what the function should throw when it encounters these situations. So for example, when I've written hi in a function in a file that I've just opened in the read format, it throws me an unsupported operation error. So the developer would have so there is a function called raise error. So he would have raised this unsupported operation error, and he would have given a message that it's not writable. So here, when I try to do something with a function that with a file that it's in the read mode and I'm trying to write, it is not allowed, right? So like I said, when I was telling you about the open function, the read mode, you can only read, you cannot write. So if you even after you've opened the function in the read mode and you're trying to write something, you'll get an error saying that it's not writable. Okay. So this is so we have seen, for till now we have seen the open function, and in the open function we have seen the read function, read mode, and in the read mode we have seen functions like read line, read lines, and then we've seen what seek does, what tell does. The function seek and tell, what do they do, and we have seen how to close the file. Now, like I said, it's really important to close the file once you've opened it. So Python has a statement. So you know that for and if and while and all these things are statements, right? So you say the for statement or the if statement or the while statement. So there is something called with, WITH. So this with statement. So when you open the file with a with statement, what happens is you do not need to explicitly close the file after you're opening it. So you can open the file with the with statement that we'll be looking at right now. We can open the file, you can perform whatever actions you want to, and then once you execute the entire thing, you do not need to you close the file. With the once that thing is done executing, and it's like a loop only. So the loop or if or while or whatever you look at, it's pretty similar to that. So after once it's done executing the with statement, you do not need to explicitly close the file. The file gets closed on its own. So you do not have to worry about, what if I do this with, what if I open this file and then I do something and, forget to close it. So that saves you this thing. So I'll say with. So this is the with statement. And always remember that whenever we use some word, so whenever you're naming a variable, right? So for example, I named this as file, and file was not a keyword in Python, or it was not a function name or something. So when you're using this on Jupyter, especially when you're using it with Jupyter Notebook, if the variable that you're naming, uh, if file was the name of a function, of an inbuilt function in Python, then the color of the name file would have been different. So you always have to make sure that whatever variable name that you're giving, it's always written in black. So that would mean that there does not exist any inbuilt function, or it is not a keyword or something. So for example, here when I wrote with, you can see that with is green in color. So that means that there is something called, uh, it is a, it's a keyword. So I say with, and then open. Sorry, extremely sorry. So with open, inside the quote sample dot, I didn't even write sample.txt fully. I just wrote sam, and then I pressed tab, and this sample.text txt came on its own, because whatever the sample.txt is in the current working directory. So Python already recognizes that there is a file named sample.txt. So I can just write sam, and then I can just press tab, and then I want this in the read format, right? So I write read as f. So I'm saying that here I said file is equal to open sample.txt comma r. So here with the with statement, I'm basically saying the same thing. If I were to write this as this thing, I would have written f is equal to open sample.txt comma r. So that is what this means. So with open sample.txt comma r as f. So f becomes the name of this file, right? And like the for loop, or the if condition, or the while, you have to use colon and then go to the for loop and stuff, right? So similarly, you press colon over here and then go inside the with statement. So if I want to read lines, right, so I say f dot, and I want to print it also. So print f dot read. I want to read the entire document. So here what I do is, this entire file gets read and it gets displayed and it gets closed on its own. Okay. So that is one great thing about the with statement. You do not have to worry about closing the file. It opens the file, it goes to the beginning of the file, it reads the file, it does whatever you ask it to do, and then it closes the file once the operations are done. So here I've just read one line. So I've just read, I've just used one particular function. So I've said print f dot read, but you can perform multiple functions. So it opens the file, it performs all those functions that you ask it to do, and then once all those functions are performed, it automatically closes it. So you do not have to close the file explicitly after you open it, right? So that's the with statement. Now let's see some interesting things that you can do with the with statement and with the read function, right? So the first thing is, suppose I just want to read the first n characters. So here, like I know that when I was at the end of the file, it was character number 88. So I know that there are 88 characters in total. So if I just want to read the first 5 characters, for example, so I'll just open the file. I'll just read, I'll just use the with statement for this. So suppose I want to read the first 5 characters. So inside this parenthesis, I can just write n. So it's like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it also has a space here that is not visible, but it has a space. So these are the first 5 characters, right? Now here again, I don't have to use the seek function as well, because if I just do this again, it is actually just opening the file again and executing these things, right? So you do not have to use the seek function here to go back to the beginning of the file. So this actually tells it, what it does is when I say with open this thing as f, this is equivalent to saying I'm saying f is equal to open sample.txt comma r, and then from there I'm reading the first 5 characters, and then when I'm executing this again, it's equivalent to saying that I'm again naming a file as f is equal to open sample.txt comma r, and then I'm reading it. So here I don't need to use the seek function. So you can read the first n characters like this. Now if I want to read the nth line, so here for me in the sample.txt I have 3 lines, right? So for example, I want to read the second line. So I say, suppose n is equal to 2 in this, and I say that I'll just use with here, right? And then I say for lines in f dot read. So I'll say current line, I'll have a variable called current line is equal to 1, right? So for this thing, if current line double equals n, then print line. So let me first execute this, and also if so this is if, right? So I also have to increase the counter. So I say current line plus is equal to 1. So for when starts reading, it reads it, even though you get the entire uh, file displayed, like whatever is there in the file, you get everything gets displayed. By default, it actually reads line by line. So I'll say that for lines in f dot read, if the current line is equal to n, then read the line, and if the current line is not equal to n, then you're actually just increasing the current line. So first I'm in the first line, then to go to the second line, I just write 1 plus 1, that is 2. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Here, line, it should be lines. What's wrong here? Let me just see. Oh, I'm extremely sorry. There's something wrong here. I'll just figure out what it is. So basically what I'm trying to do over here is I'm trying to read the line, line wise. And then once I'm done reading the entire document, I'll see what is there in the first line. If the line number is not the same as the line that I am in currently, then I'm increasing the counter and then I'm reading it again. Right. Second.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Can you, before the 4 line in lines, can you once print the lines to see what it is?
Okay. So you mean to say this one,
Yeah.
or without the for?
If we can print without the 4,
Okay.
is it like a list?
So this is what happens when you just print it without the for loop.
So, what is this collection?
Just a second. So if you want to use it with the for loop, let's see what happens with the for loop. F dot read print. So it actually does it character wise. That's what that is the difference. That's what was happening. So, and if I say read line or read lines, so this is what you can do. So yeah, 1 second. So you can say lines is equal to f dot read lines, or if I can say for lines in f dot read lines, if current line double equals n, then print the line, and then you're increasing the counter by 1. Yeah. So read lines, what happens is you get a list of all those lines, right? So I'm saying that if the for lines in the read line, so you'll read the first line, second line, third line. So for lines in read lines, if the current line is equal to the nth line that we want, then you print the line. Otherwise, you just keep increasing the counter. So this is what happens. You get welcome to KTHM College as as the output. So you'll have to use the read line function for that, not the read function. I'm extremely sorry. So that is one thing. And if you want to read the nth line from the ending using read lines, what you can do is, again, here what you are doing is you are starting from the beginning and you're counting the nth line, right? So here, for example, I'm reading it as file is equal to open sample.txt, comma r, and it doesn't matter if you're doing if you're writing r in single quotes or double quotes. It's basically the same thing. So I'm opening this, and if I say data is equal to file dot read lines, right? So you'll know that this data would actually be a list of all the lines that you have. So if you want to read the nth line from the end, what you could do is, for example, again, if I want to read the third line from the end, which is actually equal to the first line of my file. So I would just do data, and then I'll just say -3. So this will give me the first. So I had 3 lines, and I'm reading the third line from the end. So the last line would be actually the. So I'm going in the reverse order. So the last line would actually be the first line. Then the second last line would be the second line, and the third last line would be the third line. So in the list, if you want to read from in the reverse order, then you can just say data and then -3. Now you have to be really careful, because the negative index is very native to Python. There in uh, it's not there in many other programming languages. So this would not be a function that you can use in other programming languages. So if I want to read the third line from the end, then I can just say data and then -3. This will give me the third line from the end, right?
Ma'am,
Now,
because
yeah.
these are strings, so slicing is also possible, no?
Yes, very good. So we can also slice these lines. So if I can just say split, right? So I just say split. Oh, sorry. So I say, I'm just having this as, say, f is equal to data and this. So if I just display f and then f dot split. So by default, it splits it as it uses space as the splitting criteria, space or tab as the splitting criteria. So hello world had a space in between, which is why you get a list of words, so hello and world. So you can also see what all words you have in the entire list. So with the split function, you can use that, and that's a very good point that you raised. We'll actually try to do that in a bit, using the split function, how you can change the file into a dictionary or something, if we have time. Can anyone tell me if the time's up? I'll just so how much time do I have? Can anyone tell me?
Ma'am, it's 11:35 right now.
Okay, so the session is till 11:30, I suppose, but it started at 10:10 or something. Okay, so we'll just stop it by 11:45 at the max. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
Okay, great. So I'll just tell you about the write function and what happens in the write function, and how you can rename and delete the files. If you want, I could probably share this notebook with you, so you can look at whatever functions we've done till now.
Yes, please,
So
ma'am.
yeah, so so for now I'm just not saying the display length of each line using for loop. What will happen is I'm just counting the number of characters in each line. So can anyone tell me how to do that? I'll just give you a bit of an idea of how to do this. I'll go on to the write function after this.
Ma'am, when you took read line, it was reading characters. So maybe we
Yes.
can now add a count function in that.
Yeah, so that is one particular way of doing it. Or in the read lines function, what it does, it reads every line, right? So and like you saw here, it gives you uh, it gives you a string of the line, right? So hello world will have I'll get, if I say read lines and f file dot read lines, and I just ask it for the first entry, so I'll get hello world, right? So I can just write and string, like in lists, how you can find the length of the list using the len function. With strings also, you can find the length of the string using the len function, right? So here, like I use, just a second. Yeah. So here, like for lines in f dot read lines, what I can do is print the print length of line. So what that would do is it will give me the length of the characters, length of the sentences in each line, right? So that is another way of doing it. So that is how you can display the length of each line using the for loop. Now we have,
But that
yeah,
will also include two more characters for backslash n, right?
yeah, it would. So basically, when you're seeing the length of the line, it will add backslash n also to that. So you'll have to keep in mind about that. So what we've seen till now was the read function. Now there's another function, like I said, there's a function called the other mode that you have is the write mode or the append mode. So like I said, if you use the write mode, it would overwrite whatever is there, right, in the file. So for example, I say file is equal to open sample.txt. I don't have to write this entire thing. So just press tab. And then I open this in the write mode. So firstly, if I say file.read, it will give me an unsupported operation error saying that it's not readable. So if you remember when we tried to write in the read mode, it gave me the same error saying that it's not writable. So here I get the same error saying that it's not readable. So we can't read in this mode. So if I'm just trying to write something in the write mode, right? So I say file.write. And once you've opened the book, so again, going back to the book example, once you've opened the book, you can either write one line and then close the book, or you can write multiple lines and then close the book, right? So in Python, what happens is when you use the write function, once you've opened the file, you can write multiple lines in the file using write multiple times. But if you close the file and then open it and then write it again with the write function, write mode, it will overwrite whatever you've written till now. So it's basically like closing the function, and once you closing a book, and once you close the book, everything gets erased, and then you have to write everything from the beginning, something like that. So for example, let's just say we want to write different names of fruits. So I say names of fruits, right? And then I again say file.write, say apple. So sorry, it's file.write. Right, so I've opened it in the write mode and I'm writing these things. Yeah, and I'm closing the file. So once I've written all these things, I cannot see what I've written. I can't read the file because it's in the write mode. So I'm just writing it, closing it, and then opening it in the read mode to see what I've written. So I've closed the file now, and then with open sample in the read mode as f. And here it's not really necessary that you have to use f always. You can say file also. So as file print, yeah, so just say print file.read. Oh, sorry. That gets overwritten by this particular format. So that is basically, if you want to use the write operation, you would want to use the write operation in a file that you want to write everything from the beginning, or you want to overwrite what is already there. So only then you use the write mode. If you don't want that, if you want to add some more, for example, here I want to add some more fruits at the end of this file, so I can use the append mode for that. So how do I use the append mode? File dot so I can just say file is equal to open sample.txt comma in the append mode. I open this in the append mode. Here again, if I say file.read, I'll get an error, because this again is an it's non-readable. You can only write in this. So if I want to say file dot but even in the append mode, you'll have to use the write function. You do not have any append function or anything. You'll just have to write use the write function. But using the write function over here will actually append it to the end of your file. So here, if I just write write and then say oranges, right, and then you're just using new line over here, and you're closing the file, and with the with statement, I'll just execute this once, and I can just, so I'm just executing this particular thing again. So let me to just show you how the append works. So here you can see that I added orange to the file. So whatever I had written previously, that does not get overwritten. It just appends it to the end of the file. So orange gets appended to the end of the file. And it's also possible to create a new file using write. So if you don't already have a file named sample.txt, or if you don't if you want to create a new file also, that is also possible with the write function. So with the write mode. So if I say open and then say sample file, sample_file.txt in the write mode, what it does is in the current working directory. So for me right now, it's the D drive, right? So D drive, KTHM and file handling. So there it will create a new file called the sample_file, and there I can add whatever I want, right? So it's possible to create a new file from within Python. And like you had read lines, you also have write lines as well. So like in read lines, you got a list of all the lines that you had. Similarly, you can have a list of all the lines that you want to write in the same fashion that you got the output of read lines as. So for examples, in the fruit this thing, so I can just have mango and then /n comma, or strawberry /n, watermelon /n. I can just have a list of all those fruits, and then I can just write file.write lines, and inside the parenthesis I can give the name of the list, right? So that will add all those fruits to the current existing file. So that is,
Excuse me, ma'am.
yeah.
Ma'am, sample.txt was already an existing file.
Yeah, so sample_file.txt was not there, right?
But above, when you wrote those name of fruits and all that, was it added to the like?
Yeah, so when you're using the write mode, the first time when I used the write mode, that is this W mode, right? So initially it was hello world, welcome to KTHM college and stuff. So like I'll just show you the file. So it was initially hello world and everything, right? So when I used in the write mode, when I said name of fruits, apple and banana, whatever was pre-existing, that was overwritten. So I had just written names of fruits, apples and bananas in the write mode. So whatever hello world and everything, that got overwritten by this. And then when I used the append mode for appending orange to that. So in the existing file where I already had names of fruits, apples and bananas, orange got appended to that. Make sense?
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm already 3 minutes over the time that I said I would take, but I hope that this gave you a little glimpse of what all you can do with read, write. And yeah, so the final thing is, if I want to rename a file, then with the I've already imported a package called OS, right? So OS has a function called rename. So with rename, I can just say what is the current file, sample.txt, right? And I want to rename it to fruits.txt. So I can rename it like that. Sorry, I've actually opened it somewhere, so I can't use it. Oh, I've not closed the file, I think. So anyways, so here I get a permission error because I've probably opened the file somewhere, which is why I can't rename it. But once I've closed the file properly, I can rename it. Oh yeah, so I say this. Anyways, I'll so basically you need to make sure that if you've opened the file, then you have to close it properly. And if you've opened the file in the Windows also, you will have to close it properly before you can rename it. And again, if you've created another file, so suppose, yeah, I'll just do this one then. So I've created a file name sample_file.txt, right? So I can just rename that to fruits.txt. I'll show you later. And then for removing it, you again have os.remove for that. Open this, file is equal to open. And then I close it, file.close, right? And if this persists, then you can just you can just restart the kernel. So here I've renamed the file sample_file to fruits. So again, you can also remove that. So fruits.txt. So this will remove the fruits file. And you can go back to the file where you go back to the place where you store the file, and you can see that the file no longer exists. So you can remove or rename the files as well. So that's file handling for you.